Cedar Rapids, Iowa, where tonight Orthros Promotions presents AAA MMA. It's win to get in. You punch your ticket into Bellator. So this is an unbelievable night of mixed martial arts action. We have some incredible headliners, and we're live right now in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, home of the Cedar Rapids Colonels. Some unbelievable players have played in this stadium. Rocky Colavito, Mike Trout, currently with the California Angels, all played right here in Cedar Rapids, and tonight, mixed martial arts takes center stage. I want to bring my broadcast partner along. We all know her as Invicta fighter, top 10 boxer, Jody Escobel. Welcome to Cedar Rapids, Iowa.
It's good to be here, and it's good to be back, actually. I fought here in my amateur days, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful night. It's amazing. The crowd is into it. The stakes are high tonight, Mike. I'm excited.
Well, I'm excited as well. It's about 72 degrees on a beautiful summer evening in Cedar Rapids. You talked about your amateur title. We're ready for the featured amateur bout of the evening. I'd like to kick it up to our ring announcer, PJ Stoppleworth.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main card of AAA MMA. Win to get in. Here into the major card, we have fighters eligible to advance to a fight and contract in Bellator. The action starts in the cage in just a few moments. Now, making their way towards center cage from the locker rooms and finding out of the blue corner, Nick McLean.
You know, we're excited with Nick McLean in the featured bout. This is going to be 3 rounds, 3 minutes. He's from Quincy, Illinois. He's 8-2, and he has 2 125-pound amateur titles, Joe.
You know what? These guys are fighting on a big stage tonight, and there's a lot of big faces here. A lot of the Bellator guys are here, and they're fighting as an amateur, feeling the pressure of a big card. It's exciting to see.
You know, from Madhouse MMA, 20 years old, and you said it. Bellator is here. Zach Light is here. It's a big moment, but you know what? You got to be comfortable still. You're an amateur. You've been there. He has 2 amateur titles.
It's not anything new. You know, we hear a lot of guys say in the back, this is the biggest fight of their lives. I like to remind them that every fight seems like it's the biggest fight of their lives. You know, he's fighting amateur. He's getting a great experience. He's facing a super tough opponent, and I think it's going to be a great fight.
I think so as well. In his amateur career, he has 2 TKOs, 6 submissions. He's won 1 by submission. Coming from Illinois, there's some great wrestlers out of Illinois, some great stand-up. You know, Quincy, Illinois, he's going to represent today.
Now, heading towards the dual MMA cage in the Colonel's dressing room, this is Jeff DeCamp.
You know, Jeff from Cedar Rapids, Iowa, 5-4 as an amateur, 28 years old. We talked to him early, Joe, and he was really focusing on his kickboxing and his jiu-jitsu. He's only been fighting 2 years.
Mike, it's exciting to hear this hometown crowd. You know, he's from Cedar Rapids. It's always awesome to fight in a hometown crowd. It gives you that extra spark coming into the crowd, seeing familiar faces, hearing them go crazy for you when you get in there. I love fighting at home.
The interesting piece is he has a basketball and track background. He's never really fought in mixed martial arts till 2 years ago. And here's the thing, he wanted to learn a little bit of jiu-jitsu, and now he's 5-4 as an amateur, and he's wanting to turn pro very, very soon.
Yeah, you know what? This is a good fight to prove himself, to see if this is where he wants to be at, if he's ready to take it to the next level.
Jeff DeCamp, Nick McLean, they're our featured amateur bout this evening. It's going to be 3 minutes, 3 rounds, and it's exciting. You know, Cedar Rapids, there's a lot of great things around here. We got an opportunity to tour the city. I mean, it was unbelievable. Home of the 5 seasons. And you know what, tonight, if there's 5 seasons, one has to be 5 seasons.
It's a beautiful night. The fans are excited. It's fight season, Mike.
And you know what, I can't wait till they see the earlier footage of you and the mascot here in Colonel Stadium.
It was close. It was a good one.
Once again, it's the featured amateur bout on AAA MMA brought to you by Orthris Promotions. Let's go up with the official particulars to PJ Stoppleworth.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the final match of the card tonight. At AAA MMA wins to begin. Let's meet your two fighters. First up, fighting out of the blue corner. He weighed in at 125 and 7 pounds. He does his training with Madhouse MMA. From Quincy, Illinois, Nick Lil Mean McLean. His opponent fighting out of the red corner stands 5'8" and weighs in at 125 and 8 pounds. He has an amateur record of 6-3. A Cedar Rapids native, he is a member of Team DTF. Fighting out of the red corner, Jeff DK.
Instructions in the dressing room. Do you have any questions from the blue corner? Do you have any questions from the red corner? Touch gloves. Good luck, all of you.
Your referee in charge of bout number 1 is Brian Bresler. He's an AMA trailblazer here in Cedar Rapids. We're ready for round number 1. The referee is checked in with the judges, which are Chris Bott, Matt Aldine, and Troy Vitito. And round number 1 begins. They're filling out each other a little bit, Jody.
Quick right leg kicks. He returns with the same kick. Both hands are up. Jeff comes forward, aggressive. First rounds are always interesting to see with MMA gloves. Filling out is a quick process.
And you know, when you're brand new in the game as far as amateurs, it's always good to fight in your own backyard. So if you're looking at somebody who may have an advantage, it could be Jeff DeCamp tonight.
Absolutely. An open guard, Jeff on top, reaching around the head so he can't posture up and hit him. High guard with his left leg there.
Right now they're battling for position. As you can hear the crowd right now, they're saying go Jeff, and that goes back to that hometown feel.
Trying to push that right leg down. Jeff is trying to push that right leg down to pass his guard. He's staying out of trouble off of his back. Nick is trying to break down his posture so he can't posture up and punch him, get those shots off.
Once again, we're about 72 degrees here in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. A beautiful evening on Saturday night. We're at Veterans Memorial Stadium, home of the Colonels.
Jeff was able to get some big shots off right there. Nick has long legs and he's looking for submissions off his back. Jeff's got to make sure either he stays real close where he is right now or out of range. Those long legs searching for the submissions. Jeff in side control now.
These two guys have a big opportunity tonight as they fight right before our professional featured fights, where the crowd is nice, the crowd has filtered in, and there's about over 1,000 people here tonight, Jody. It's a great crowd tonight.
It's a perfect night for fights outside. Quick turnaround there. He gave up his back in the scramble. That right underhook prevents him from taking his back. Now I see Nick is probably going to start hunting for that guillotine, and there's a clean break.
Jeff DeCamp now makes his way out as McLean throws 2 punches right there. As we're 10 seconds away from round number 1.
It was a good sprawl, but Jeff still ended up on his back.
Round number 1 ends. And you know what? It was a round where Nick McLean from Quincy, Illinois looked to get the better of Jeff DeCamp in that particular round.
You know what's great is to see such a quality matchup. against a hometown kid. This matchup is solid. There's not a one-sided fight on this card, and it's great to see that.
Don't forget, Bellator makes its way to the U.S. Cellular Center here in Cedar Rapids, Iowa on October 18th. We're going to be ready for some professional mixed martial arts, and it's win to get in tonight. Zach Light from Bellator's here. J.R. Rodriguez, the president of AAA MMA, is here. There's a lot of people watching tonight.
Yeah, amateur or professional, whether you're a featured fight or you fought on the undercard, there's eyes watching. You never know who's in the crowd watching.
In the main event tonight is Joe Vitopo. He takes on Eddie Larea. Vitopo, this is his backyard. He finally comes back. He's had some stints in Bellator. Now he gets a chance with AAA MMA tonight to get that ticket punched back.
Very exciting main event tonight.
We're ready for round number 2 as the referee, Brian Bresler, asks the judges if they're ready. Round number 2 begins.
Touch of gloves, awesome sign of respect from both fighters.
Hands up.
Jeff DeCamp charges forward, eats a body kick on the way in.
Jeff DeCamp on his back.
Trying to pull his head down to keep that posture from going up. Bringing that right leg high up on his back. Closed guard. Now it's open again. Sometimes you don't see a closed guard often in MMA. Back open.
Nick McLean in control right now as he's trying to figure out a way.
Break that posture up, Mike, so you can get those shots off. Jeff's also very sneaky. I think he's trying to climb those legs up, looking for that submission, maybe stuff an arm, get a triangle.
Nick with 2 big shots, 2 left hooks to the face. As Jeff DeCamp tries to make his way out. He's against the cage right now, Jody.
Sometimes the cage hinders you from getting up, and sometimes it's your best friend helping you walk that back up the cage so you can get back to your feet if that's where you want to be.
Jeff DeCamp doing everything he can
to better that position. Those guys might not be doing as much damage as they want to right now.
Some big shots to the rib cage by Jeff DeCamp, and now McLean swinging for the fences. Trying to go after that triangle choke right now.
He has super high guard there. Oh, and he gets his back.
McLean.
He has a deep rehab, a tap. Rear naked.
Gets the victory by rear naked choke in round number 2. As he went for the triangle, and it just got away from him, Jody.
You never know. You have to fight for that, for your back, so it's not taken. He was able to sink both feet in, get his hooks in, capitalize on that scramble.
So Nick McLean from Quincy, Illinois raises his amateur record to 9-2 from Madhouse MMA. 2 125 amateur titles, now has a big victory in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. When we talk to him, he's waiting about 1 year until he wants to turn pro. He looks up to guys like Anderson Silva and Jose Aldo. So a big victory as we get the official announcement from PJ Stoppelworth.
Ladies and gentlemen, this fight comes to an end 1 minute and 41 seconds into the second round. Your winner by Madhouse is the rear naked choke, Nick Lil Me McLean.
Hey, Nick. Hey, Cedar Rapids, I'm here with your winner tonight. Nick fought a super tough first round. How are you feeling about your victory, Nick?
I lost to 2 people. I lost to his brother, so meeting his brother makes me feel great right now. Feel accomplished. One right here from all the Bellator guys, what I came to do.
Was that your game plan going in? Was standing with him? Did you have a game plan going in?
I didn't really have a game plan. I was just trying to go around for the fight. If I could beat him standing, if I could beat him on the ground. And then if somebody beat me standing, I just take it down for 9 rounds.
Nick, that was an awesome performance. Is there anyone on your team, someone you want to thank?
Yeah, I want to thank Bill Riley right here. Sustaining me, everything.
give a round of applause for Nick.
And I want to thank all my family and friends for coming right over there. That group over there is in there.
Nick McLean's your winner. Moves to 9-2. Big victory tonight in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. We're getting ready to kick off the professional bouts of the night. And I'll tell you what, the first one is going to be Chris Lane against DeAndrew Jones. We're going to move to 3 rounds of 5 minutes per round. And right now, we're going to go to PJ Stoppleworth, who will introduce the fighters to the cage.
As we move into the next fight, this is the professional portion of our card. First to approach the AAA MMA win to get in cage, DeAndrew Jones.
DeAndrew Jones, better known as the Problem Child. He's 5'6", weighed in 144 pounds. He's an American pit fighter, and his head coach is Dave Mann. Wushu boxing and Greco-Roman wrestling is his background, and he took this fight on 3 days' notice, Jody.
I'm excited about this fight. 3 words that he instantly said was he was explosive, he was powerful, and he has good endurance. These little guys can fight. I'm fond of little fighters, hence myself, and these guys go. I'm excited to see this battle.
Jody Escobar fights at the atomweight division in Invicta. So these guys tonight, he weighed in at 144, but I can see where you're going. It's excitement every time they get into the cage.
Absolutely. These guys are non-stop. You never see these little guys, they throw so many punches with power that it's unbelievable.
3 days notice, he gets the call. He gets an opportunity to come into Cedar Rapids, Iowa, to have a chance. He's from Burlingame. Chris Lane, his opponent's from right here in Cedar Rapids. He came up a little way from Burlingame, so he's from Iowa, but he's fighting Chris Lane in his backyard.
The spectacle, not only taking that fight in 3 days notice, but coming into somebody's hometown and fighting them, much respect.
Now heading towards the Triple MMA Steel and fighting out of the red corner, Chris Lane.
Kid Chaos, Chris Lane, weighed in at 146 pounds. His professional record, 10 wins, 9 losses. He was 9-1 as an amateur. He's a state champion wrestler. He had 2 AAU titles. He went to college at William Penn, a D3 university, and he represents Team Hard Drive, Jody.
Another fighter that you can hear the crowd just go wild for.
You know, you talk about wrestlers, and we got to talk about Dan Gable, the 1972 gold medalist, 9 straight NCAA titles. When you come to Iowa, you better know that wrestling is synonymous with it. And I'll tell you what, Chris Lane is a phenomenal wrestler.
It's interesting to hear these wrestlers always talk about rounding themselves out. So I always like to hear the wrestlers pride themselves in their wrestling, but talk about how much they work on their stand-up, their jiu-jitsu. MMA is a beautiful sport where you have to know them all.
I'll tell you what, he's been biking for 15 miles a day to get prepared for this bout. So he took his cardio up a notch.
I like that. Anything to take the edge, to not run out of gas in that 3rd round, maybe even the end of the 1st round. Adrenaline's pumping. Bellator's here. Emotions are flying high tonight, Mike.
Orthros Promotions, it's AAA MMA. We're ready for our first professional bout of the evening. With the official announcement, let's go up to PJ Stoppleworth.
Ladies and gentlemen, here we go with our first pro fight card on the night. First up, out of the blue corner, he stands 5'5" tall, weighing in 143 and 8/10 pounds. From Burlington, Iowa, this fighter trains with American Pit Fighters. Please say hello to DeAndrew the Problem Child Jones. Here's his opponent fighting out of the red corner. He weighed in at 146 pounds and comes to us from Cedar Rapids, Iowa, fighting for the people of the 319. Chris
got any questions from the red corner? Judge Gloves, good luck, gentlemen.
Brian Breslow gives the final instruction. And PJ Stoppelhor said Chris Lane's fighting for the 319. And that's Cedar Rapids, Iowa.
Yes, it is, and they are in full effect. You can hear this crowd go wild for Chris.
Round number 1 begins, and DeAndrew Jones comes out quickly, and Chris Lane trying to find that range, real lanky, looking for that range to maybe throw an overhand right like we just seen.
He comes in, he misses. DeAndrew Jones pressures him up against the cage. You see DeAndrew Jones trying to pummel that right hand in. Good pressure from Chris. You'll see both guys jockeying for head position here, which is extremely important when takedown or takedown defense is where that head goes. You can see Chris Lane jockey and then bring that knee up top.
Yeah, big knee right there by Chris Lane. DeAndrew Jones trying to take this to the ground. Chris Lane posturing up, can't get there right now.
You see Jones bring that right leg in between his legs, spreading both legs wider so it spreads that base. You can't get that good strong defense or offense in that position.
Chris Lane, as we said, he's 10 wins, 9 losses as a professional, had a great amateur career, fighting in his backyard. And DeAndrew Jones here. Chris is looking at the referee right now.
Yeah, he seems a little stuck there. Jones needs to either change his level to improve his position.
Chris Lane right now real relaxed, trying to get away.
Lane's trying to...
And DeAndrew Jones falls backwards and the crowd reacts.
Both fighters look extremely relaxed here, Mike, as they come back to feeling out each other in the center of the cage.
Kid Chaos with the kick. And DeAndrew Jones looks like to have a little boxing background. Has the hands high.
Chin up. Chris Lane with the southpaw stance for a second. Now he's switching.
DeAndrew Jones, the southpaw. Chris Lane trying to get a shot off. And a kick.
That length there. He kind of falls out with that jab.
Big left right there, misses.
Comes in with a big right.
DeAndrew Jones with a right left and another right. And they're going toe to toe. DeAndrew Jones catches Chris Lane as he goes down. Brian Breslow stops the fight. DeAndrew Jones with a big 1-2. And follow that up with multiple punches.
Problem Child is victorious tonight, and he is excited. 3 days notice, Mike.
3 days notice. Kid Chaos, Chris Lane, and DeAndrew Jones go toe-to-toe. And DeAndrew Jones ends up with the victory. The referee stops the bout due to strikes. And Chris Lane getting checked out right now. Dr. Markowitz inside the cage, taking a look at Chris Lane. And with the official announcement, we go to PJ Stoppelhor.
Ladies and gentlemen, this fight comes to an end. 2 minutes and 43 seconds into the first round. As Brian Breslow, your referee, calls a stop to action. Your winner by TKO, DeAndrew, the Problem Child, Jones.
DeAndre, you took this fight on 3 days notice with an awesome performance tonight. How are you feeling?
Oh, I feel amazing, man. What can I say? The next coach, man, my coach Dave, American Pit Fighters, Sonny, my friend Adam, rest in peace. I know you were shining down with me, man.
That was a great performance. Did you feel like you followed your game plan tonight?
I didn't come in with a game plan. This is mixed martial arts. I'm a pro. I'm supposed to be prepared all time. There's different aspects of the game. I'm ready wherever it goes.
Is there anyone you want to thank has helped you through your MMA career, bringing you to this pro platform. Bellator's an intended.
Yes, I want to thank the American Pit Fighter, Dave Man, Jonathan Thompson, Billy Man, my manager, her son, Steven Man, Adam. This fight wasn't for a contract, it wasn't for the money. It's for my friend Adam Gates, who passed away months ago. So, it's for you, buddy. It doesn't even matter.
Give a round of applause for both fighters, Chris and DeAndrew, guys. Thank you.
DeAndrew Jones is your winner. Referee stops the bout due to strikes. He moves his record to 3 wins, 3 losses. A big note right there is that he took the fight on 3 days' notice. Comes into Chris Lane's backyard here in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, Kid Chaos, and gets the victory. We're ready to continue tonight's pro card here in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Let's go back to PJ Stoppelworth.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to welcome our next 2 fighters. First, getting to the cage right now of the blue corner, Benjamin Miller.
Ben Miller, 154-pounder from Rockford, Illinois, representing Core Combat Sports. He's a first-degree black belt, Jody, and you know what? He watched Enter the Dragon with his dad, loved the Bruce Lee movie, and followed karate.
You know what? Ben Miller said something during his pre-fight interview that really stuck with me, Mike. He said, I don't care how old I get. It doesn't matter what I'm doing in my life. I will always be doing mixed martial arts or some sort of martial arts. And that really stuck with me. That has an impact on people's lives that will stick with them for a lifetime.
Absolutely. Jiu-Jitsu blue belt with Jeff Curran in Illinois. He had 2 amateur titles as a kickboxer. You have some kickboxing background as well. You have an amateur title, one right here in Cedar Rapids, Iowa with kickboxing.
Yeah, it was I came down with my coach, Mike Winklejohn, as an amateur and fought here. It was a beautiful, beautiful time, and I'm excited to see these kickboxers.
Now, heading towards the AAA MMA cage from the Colonel's dressing room here at Veterans Memorial Stadium, this is Derek Loffer.
Derek Loffer, 156 pounds, he's 4-1. He grew up in Marengo, Iowa, now calling Cedar Rapids his home. He's an unbelievable wrestler representing Down to Fight. And you know, Bellator, from what everybody's been telling me in this town, really has their eye on Derek Loffer.
As you can hear the home crowd go crazy again, people love to see this guy fight. Bellator's here, has an eye on him. It's great. It's great to see this crowd get alive to this guy.
You know what, he really talked about his son Grayson and what a big role that's played in his MMA career and how well he wants to do. But he was very proud of his son Grayson.
It's great to see where these fighters find their motivation, Mike. It's a beautiful thing.
Derek Loffer from right here in Cedar Rapids. You hear the crowd erupt as he makes his way inside the cage here at Colonel Stadium. Cedar Rapids, Iowa is where we're at. A lot of history here. A lot of actors, a lot of people know. How about Ashton Kutcher from right here in Cedar Rapids?
Yeah, you never know who's in the crowd.
Well, he's not in the crowd, but I'll tell you what, he's a famous alum from here.
Absolutely.
Derek Loffer Down to Fight is the gym he represents. His boxing coach is Randy Rittenauer. Seth Thorpe is also one of his coaches. And he's been on a 3-fight win streak.
Derek Loffer looking up to Forrest Griffin and any fighter that gets in the cage, which is very respectable.
You know, hard work, dedication. That's what could sum up Derek Loffer when we spoke with him. Hard worker.
He had an extremely large amount of amateur fights.
Bellator has a line on Derek Loffer from what everybody in Cedar Rapids, Iowa told us. We're going to go up to the official announcement with PJ Stoppelworth.
The cage is locked, loaded, and ready to go. First up, fighting out of the blue corner. He stands 5'10", weighing in at 154.8 pounds. He trains with the Rockford Combat Club from Rockford, Illinois, Benjamin Miller. His opponent fighting out of the red corner. He stands 5'9" and weighed in at 155.9 pounds. With a pro record of 4-1, this fighter from Cedar Rapids, Iowa, is a member of Team DTF. This is the Cedar Rapids Psycho, Derek Lopper!
Brian Bresler, your referee in charge of this action as we're getting ready to start round number 1. The Cedar Rapids Psycho is Derek Loffer's nickname. Ben Miller from Rockford, Illinois. They check with the judges at ringside and we're ready to start round number 1.
No touch of gloves here. Big right kick from Miller. Followed up with the front kick.
Derek Loffer's energy has to be extremely high as he gets off 4 shots right there, Jody.
Grabs almost around the waist, almost thinking about a takedown, but there's a break.
Loffer with a big knee. And Miller comes back with 2 knees of his own.
Miller kind of reaches there. It's kind of dangerous for those knees, but he's trying to close that distance, staying away from high kicks or long punches.
Loffer with the high kick.
Again with the front kick. Front kicks can almost work as jabs in this situation.
Loffer with a big kick right there connects to Miller's chin.
Loffer staying super composed even after a big shot. I like to see that.
DTF! 3 quick shots puts Miller in the ground.
I think Miller almost tried to pull guard there, but it didn't work out.
You can hear the crowd here at Veterans Memorial Stadium, home of the Colonels, as they're rooting on Derek Loffer.
Oh,
big knee by Ben Miller.
Big knee comes up off of that reach. Loffer gets off a handful of punches, a big flurry.
Loffer trying to find that range. Looks like he might have caught one to his right eye. Squinting a little bit.
MMA gloves are notorious for eye pokes, Mike. You gotta close those fists while you're throwing those punches.
Miller with another strong kick. Gets caught with a big punch. Loffer on top. Hammer fists. And the referee moves in and stops this fight. Brian Bresler has called a halt to this fight. Your winner by way of strikes is going to be Derek Loffer.
Ben Miller was never able to recover after that big shot. Loffer took advantage of him falling down, smothering him with punches, landing big shots, enough to stop the fight, Mike.
Derek Loffer wins this matchup. Cedar Rapids, Iowa is very loud right now for their hometown hero. We're going to go up to ring announcer PJ Stopover.
Ladies and gentlemen, this bout comes to an end 1 minute and 59 seconds into the first round as your referee Brian Bresler calls a stop to the fight. Your winner by TKO, the Cedar Rapids Psycho, Derek Loffer.
Cedar Rapids, I'm here with the Cedar Rapids Psycho. How are you feeling, man?
I'm feeling great. There's nothing better than winning in hometown for Cedar Rapids. I love that so much.
What does it mean to you to be fighting here in front of your hometown with some big names here, Bellator, AAA, MMA?
That means a lot. I mean, I've always tried to fight the big shows, the big names, stuff like that. The fact that people get up here and fight with these guys, that says a lot in itself. I love always trying to fight for fans, compete with the top level guys. I fought in 8 months, so I'll tell you what, it feels great to be back here and get in again.
Great, you had a great return to the cage. We have Sal Mora here.
Ladies and gentlemen, inside the cage from AAA MMA, we have Director of Operations Sal Mora awarding Derek his love during his medal. And from Bellator, we have Zach Lights.
Derek Lawford, welcome to Bellator.
Derek Lawford is now in Bellator. Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Don't forget, October 18th at the U.S. Cellular Center. Bellator comes to Cedar Rapids, and Derek Lawford just punched his ticket into Bellator. A huge victory for him, and Cedar Rapids is extremely excited for Derek Lawford as he makes one of the biggest stages in MMA. Derek Lawford now a member of Bellator as he just punches his ticket right into the show. We're ready to continue tonight's professional action, and our next matchup is incredible with fighter introductions. Let's go to PJ Stopperworth.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for your co-main events. The fighters now approaching the cage. First from the blue corner, Demian Akagni.
Damian Papagni now makes his way to the cage. The Grumpy Cat. It's the co-main event. Rod Montoya, Damian Papagni. He's originally born and raised in New York. He now calls Cedar Rapids, Iowa, his home. He stays in shape. This is how he got to stay in shape, MMA. But he was a rugby player.
I would say equally tough. Those rugby guys are brutal.
Well, rugby is where it began. MMA is where we're at tonight. He has 8 years boxing experience, and we asked him, are you planning on standing up a little bit? He said, I'll take you wherever it needs to go.
You know, one thing that I respected about him is that he said he didn't have a Facebook account, Mike. That he talks to people. He calls people when he wants to talk to them. Grumpy Cat, I like it.
The Grumpy Cat, born and raised in New York, now calling Cedar Rapids, Iowa his home. He's fighting again in his backyard here at Colonel's Field, Colonel's Stadium, Veterans Memorial Stadium. It's been fun out here in this baseball field, Jody.
It's been beautiful. It's a beautiful night here. The fans are hyped up. We couldn't ask for a better night.
Now making his way out to the field here at Veterans Memorial Stadium in Cedar Rapids, Rod Montoya.
Rod Montoya weighing at 165 pounds, 28 years old. You hear the Spanish music. He's from Aguascalientes, Mexico. From Columbus Junction, Iowa is where he resides now. A wrestling background, trains with the great Pat Miletich Fighting Systems. Pat Miletich Fighting Systems, Jody, how big is that?
Wow, Mike. Wow. It's awesome to even just be in the same place.
He's been with Pat Miletich for about 8 or 9 years training under him. He took a year off. He had a taste of Bellator where he lost to Joe Williams. He tore his MCL 4 days before the fight.
He still took the fight. You know what? That says a lot about somebody. A lot of the fighters would have pulled out. It'd be a big fight to lose. And you know what? He stayed tough and still decided to go out there and take that fight. And that says a lot about Rod, and I appreciate that.
You know, we talked to Rod, and he had a dear friend, Sherman the Tank Pendergast. He passed away earlier. And, you know, he always remembered that he was trying to help him get into Bellator. And he always talked about faith. And Rod Montoya has that tattooed on him right now, his faith, as he truly listened to Sherman the Tank Pendergast.
You know what? That was a very touching story, Mike. It was so awesome to get to know these fighters before they get in the cage, and we know a little extra something about them. You know, Rob said that he had a taste of the big show, and he knew that he would do what it takes to get back here.
Well, I'll tell you what, tonight he could be going back to Bellator. It's win to get in. It's the co-main event. The winner gets a contract into Bellator. You know, here's another thing, Jody. When you look at the guys that he's fought the likes of Damasio Page. He's fought the best of the best around the country. He comes in with 15 wins, 13 losses.
This guy has some cage experience. Whether that wins or losses on your record, it's experience.
28 fights for Rob Montoya. He tries to win to get in tonight, to punch his ticket into Bellator. Let's go up to PJ Stoppenworth.
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight this is your co-main event as Arthur's Promotions presents AAA MMA Win to Get In. First up, out of the blue corner, he stands by for the leather weight in at 163 1/2 pounds. With a professional record of 2-3, he makes his home in Cedar Rapids and trains with Nomad Muay Thai. This is Damian His opponent fighting out of the red corner. He stands by for the leather weight in at 165 8/10 pounds. A professional record of 15 wins and 13 losses. He trains with Militant Fighting Systems from Columbus Junction, Iowa. The Executioner, Rod Montoya.
Tyrone Roberts is our referee, Jody. He fought at UFC 26 where he defeated David Dodd via unanimous decision. We're ready to start round number 1. Rob Montoya, Damian Papagni. It's win to get in. Papagni with the leg kick.
Ron kind of piling out with that left hand, that jab. Big kick, grabs it right away, takes him down. Papagni kind of reaching over the back of his head. Rod's not in trouble there.
Come on, baby! Rod!
Rod Montoya on top.
Rod will try to pass the side control here. Get over the left arm, posture up, and maybe land some shots here.
When he pushes through, you go!
Rod Montoya has had that taste of the big show. Definitely wants to get back in it here in Cedar Rapids.
Papagni just tried to kind of flip him over, roll, get the sweep there, but Rod seems super heavy with his top pressure and stopped that attempt.
Damian Papagni with some big elbows to the rib cage. And Rod Montoya with some big elbows. Papagni with about 5 punches to the ribs. Rod Montoya getting sneaky with that right.
Trying to pass the guard there, Mike. Better his position. Head position is extremely important here. You can see Rod bringing his head close as he passes guard. Now he's in mount.
2 big shots to the rib cage. Now up.
Teeing off and mount.
Rod Montoya with the ground and pound. Papagni with the flip, and Rod Montoya trying to end this fight.
Papagni still trying to throw those shots from the bottom, showing the ref that he wants to be here still. He's got to better his position, break down that posture, not take those big shots.
A vocal crowd here tonight at Veterans Memorial Stadium, home of the Cedar Rapids Colonels, where MMA has come in, and Rod Montoya.
Papagni with a good roll out there, ending up in a good position in his guard. Trying to pass on that right side of Rod.
An action-packed first round. And Papagni, who had taken some shots earlier now, seems to be in a position where he can take a little breather.
You can see that he's trying to take those big breaths, mouths open here. Now's the time where you take those breaths in your nose and try to get yourself grounded again and restart, better your position, and go forward.
Tyrone Roberts keeping a close eye on the action. 17-year veteran of the sport.
See that Papagni has both legs under control there, and that's where Rob's having a hard time. Digging that head into his side, trying to better his head position there as he breaks off.
Some up kicks by Rob Montoya and a big front kick by Papagni.
Rod immediately tries to pass that guard.
Let's go!
Bringing that right leg across, and he mounts.
And he taps out as Rod Montoya has just punched his ticket into Bellator.
Awesome sign of respect from Rod. These guys actually knew each other in the past, and they've had a great sign of respect for each other.
Rod Montoya moves his record to 16 wins, 13 losses. And it's a big victory tonight, as this was win to get in. And don't forget, on October 18th at the U.S. Cellular Center, Bellator comes to Cedar Rapids, and Rod Montoya is the newest participant in Bellator. Let's go up with the official announcement with PJ Stoppelworth.
Ladies and gentlemen, this fight comes to an end at 3 minutes 43 seconds into the first round. Your winner by tap out submission of the show, the Executioner, Rod Montoya!
Cedar Rapids, I'm here with your winner, the Executioner. How are you feeling?
I feel awesome, man. I had a great camp going into this fight. I haven't felt this good in a long time. I feel good winning out. My last fight I hadn't fought. Been training my ass off.
You've been fighting with injuries. You're from a strong camp. It was great. It was a great performance. I have Zach Light here from MMA, Bellator MMA for a few words.
Hey Rod, absolutely impressive. I'll tell you this, man. I'm gonna give you anybody you ask for. I'll give you the best fighter in Bellator. Who do you want to fight? I want the best of the best, man. I want Paul Sass. What's his next? October 18th, Rod Montoya will be fighting Paul Sass. One of the best in the world. Congratulations, man. Welcome back to Bellator.
Welcome back to Bellator for Rod Montoya. And not only that, Zach Light says, who do you want to fight? And he goes all in. He says, I'm ready to fight anybody you throw at me. And they throw one of the best fighters in the world. He's back into Bellator, and a big announcement right there, Jody, as he gets back into Bellator, October 18th at the U.S. Cellular Center. They put him in against Paul Sass.
I'm speechless. They asked him who he wants, and there you get. That's who you get.
That's who you get. Sometimes you get what you want, and we're ready for the main event of the evening. And a lot of people have talked about this. Joe Beatipo, who's from right here in Cedar Rapids, comes back for the main event tonight against Eddie Larea. It's a matchup people have been talking about. He's had a taste of the big show. He's been in UFC. He's been in Bellator, and he has to win tonight to get in back to Bellator.
This is another fighter that I really appreciated getting to know before the fight. He says he got everything in line so he can concentrate on fighting, and he was tired of not meeting his expectations of himself, and I can appreciate that as a fighter. We go through a lot, they go through a lot, they're out here to put on a show, and I'm rooting for both of these guys.
Joe the Dr. Beatipo, Eddie Larea, Cedar Rapids, Iowa, Orthrus Promotions, AAA MMA. It's win to get in. Let's go up to PJ Stoppelworth.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for your main event tonight at AAA MMA Win to Get In. Now, heading out of the locker rooms and approaching the AAA MMA cage and fighting out of the blue corner, Eddie Rock and Roll Larea.
Eddie Larea from Wisconsin, training with D1CC Freestyle just about 2 weeks ago in King of the Cage. He's fought tough man competitions. He has over 39 professional bouts, and this could be the biggest one of his career.
Mike, it's great to see. You know what? I looked him up. I watched a little bit of film on him, and he's deceptively quick. He has quick legs, quick hands, MMA gloves. It's going to be fireworks, Mike.
You know, the nice thing about this is all the experience that's taken place, 39 fights, but an opportunity tonight to win to get in, and that's what AAA MMA has provided. Eddie Larea, 39 fights, and now he gets a shot at the biggest stage and going to Bellator.
This is the shot. You know, the opportunity for these guys to fight for a contract is just so amazing. That these guys dream of this opportunity, Mike, and to be able to come up here and perform and hopefully execute your game plan. It's exciting to see.
6 foot, 192 pounds from Ho-Chunk country in Wisconsin. You know, some of the fighters that he told us that he looks up to is Nick Diaz. And you know, in the fighter interviews, Eddie Larea was talking, you know, hey, look, I'm not going to disclose my game plan. I'm not going to talk about it too much. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to surprise some people.
I like it, Mike. I like it. I think a lot of people are maybe even counting this guy out. And for him to answer a question about a game plan like that, it makes you wonder.
And now, heading to the locker rooms down to the field here at Veterans Memorial Stadium, the fight out of the ring corner, Joe Vidapo.
Joe the Dr. Vidapo, 14-6, weighed in 195 pounds. He was born in Iowa City, Iowa, from Columbus Junction, Iowa. Team Hard Drive. He's trained with America's top team. He's been in the sparring sessions with Michael Bisping and Rampage Jackson. He's fought in the UFC. He fought in Bellator. He's trying to make his way back into Bellator. He's fought the likes of Alicio Sakura and Rob Kimmons in UFC. He's fought fights that people only hope to get to, Jody.
You know what? One thing I appreciate him saying is every fight is a big fight. You know, he's fought in the UFC. He's fought in Bellator. He's winning. He's fighting to get back in. And he said, you know what? Every fight's a big fight for me, and I can appreciate that.
You know, Joe Vidapo, he's had his run-ins. We talked to him yesterday. He's feeling a lot better. He's ready to get after it. He's focused. He's ready to get back to that big stage. He's ready to get back to where he feels comfortable.
Joe Vidapo yesterday said that he's sick of not being number one.
A lot of expectations for Joe Vidapo. And you know, he has that shin choke, absolutely, which we call the Vidapo choke. But that shin choke, it's very rare, and he came up with it himself. Now the Vidapo choke.
Good. It's not every day you get a move named after yourself.
Joe the Dr. Vidapo, 14-6, makes his way into the AAA MMA cage. Eddie Larea right there, right in front of you. Kind of letting you know he's ready.
You know what? He looks ready. Super relaxed. Both fighters have a great deal of experience.
This is the main event of the evening. We're live in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. AAA MMA, Orthros Promotions. It's win to get in. Let's go up to PJ Stoppelworth.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your main event at 195 pounds with your referee, Tyler Roberts. Introducing first, out of the blue corner. He stands 6 foot tall and weighed in at 192 pounds. He comes to us from Ho-Chunk country and trains at DICC Freestyle. This is Eddie Rock and Roll Larea. His opponent fighting out of the red corner stands 6 foot tall and weighed in at 195 pounds. He trains with Team Hard Drive and is a member of American Top Team. With a record of 14 wins and 6 losses from Columbus Junction, Iowa, Joe the Doctor Vitapo!
Let's go! Turn it on! Turn it up!
Tyrone Roberts, your referee, and right there, an interesting face-off before we start round number 1.
Energy is high here. The crowd is going wild.
Eddie Loretta came to talk to us a little bit as Joe Vitapo made his way into the cage. Vitapo with a big kick.
Eddie Loretta here to have some fun, smile on his face. Big
Loretta with a big front kick.
Joe Vitapo, very calm, very composed here.
Loretta quick in the feet with another big kick right there, Jody.
Big
overhead right. Eddie Loretta, and the fight is stopped. Eddie Loretta beats Joe the Doctor Vitapo with a 1-round knockout here in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, as Eddie Loretta shocks a lot of people tonight with this big victory as the referee stops the bout. Eddie Loretta is your winner, and he's gonna punch his ticket into Bellator. Let's go up to PJ Stoppelworth.
Ladies and gentlemen, this fight comes to an end at 32 seconds into the first round as your referee Kyle Roberts calls a stop to the action. Your winner by TKO, Eddie Rock'n'Roll Loretta!
Cedar Rapids, I'm here with your winner. A lot of people would say, Eddie, that was a big upset. How are you feeling right now?
I feel great. I love you, Iowa. I love you, Ultra Nation.
Eddie, was that your game plan? Did you have a game plan going into this fight?
Nah, all I did to prepare for this fight was play a lot of UFC and a lot of pizza. Had to gain some weight and stuff. So.
Alright, Eddie, do I have you in the very special guest here?
I'm not knocking them out this whole time, because that's what I do.
Eddie, you have quick hands and quick feet. That was an extremely awesome performance here. We have Zach Light from MMA.
Eddie, that was 32 seconds. So here's the scenario, buddy. You're gonna step into Bellator now. You called me and said, how do I get in? And I gave you the exact scenario. Congratulations and welcome to Bellator.
Eddie Loretta goes into Bellator as he picks up Zach Light with a big bear hug. Zach Light from Bellator letting Eddie Loretta know that he is victorious and he gets to fight on October 18th at the U.S. Cellular Center. Bellator MMA makes its way back into Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Be the first time in Cedar Rapids. It's a big show. It's the U.S. Cellular Center, and it was all brought to you tonight by AAA MMA. The winners tonight that got into Bellator, Derek Laufer, Rob Montoya, and Eddie Loretta are the new roster members of Bellator. I really appreciate Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and all the hospitality that we have received in this great city. Jody, what a great time that we've had here in Cedar Rapids, and AAA MMA and Orthodox Promotions puts on another fantastic show.
I'm speechless, Mike. That main card, the amateur card, everybody, the fights were amazing. The matchups are are great. AAA MMA, traveling the country, giving these fighters their chance to get into Bellator. This isn't happening anywhere, Mike.
How excited was Eddie Lorette?
He won the biggest fight of his life tonight, Mike.
He's in Bellator. 40 fights it took to get into Bellator, and now he's in. Once again, I want to thank all the hospitable people of Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Here at Veterans Memorial Stadium, I'll tell you what, the Cedar Rapids Colonels were very good to us today.
Everybody's been so awesome here. We've had such a great experience, whether it was here at the stadium, downtown.
I love you, Iowa.
And there's Eddie Lorette.
He loves Iowa too, Mike.
I'll tell you what, I want to thank my clothing sponsor, Dress to Kill. I want to keep you all in touch and updated because next week, Jody, we're back in Albuquerque, New Mexico, where Angelo the Samurai Warrior Sanchez takes on Ray Borg in the main event of another Win to Get In brought to you by AAA MMA. We're back in Albuquerque.
Not a place for some fights, Mike. Albuquerque is a fight city, and I've heard the buzz around the city already talking about these fights.
I'll tell you what, we're in Fight Town, USA next week. That's Albuquerque, New Mexico. PJ Stoppelworth, thanks for a great job tonight in the center of the cage. For Jody Esquivel, my name's Mike Adams. It's Win to Get In, and we'll see you in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Good night.